Coming up on AgweekTV, the Agweek corn and soybean crop tour continues with stops in the Dakotas and Minnesota. We'll talk to a specialty crop producer and get the other side of the Dicamba court case.
We'll talk about America's rural infrastructure problems and some possible solutions.
Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. U.S. crop conditions continued to slide this week with the recent hot, dry weather, and that was true in much of the region. The market has been reacting to the lower yield prospects. Corn conditions fell another 3 to 5% in the region, with Iowa at only 45% good to excellent on corn. And soybean ratings also continued to slide, with Iowa's crop at only 50% good to excellent. The negative impact the hot, dry weather has had on crop conditions and yield potential is evident in South Dakota, which is our first stop this week on the Agweek corn and soybean crop tour. Joining me right now is Keith Mockler with Bayer. And we started off with such great yield potential on the corn crop this year. We got in early, but it has really deteriorated fast, hasn't it?
You know, Michelle, it really has. The heat we've gone through here the last couple weeks, probably about as intense a late August heat as I've seen. And to be quite honest with you, I've never seen a crop that looked that good go south that fast.
So Keith, what kind of yield potential do you think we have on the corn now in South Dakota?
You know, we had a huge yield potential. We probably trimmed that back 15-20%. In South Dakota here, it's going to be a lot of corn in the 140s, 150s. As you get in the southeast corner, there's still going to be some 200 plus, but you know, I think the big thing, Michelle, is that it was 240, 250.
And USDA and other private forecasters were really talking about South Dakota having a record corn crop this year, and that's really not in the cards anymore, is it?
Now we're probably going to be in the upper 150s as a state average. I think it's still going to be a decent crop. It's going to be, still probably be a top 5 for South Dakota.
So what kind of test weights do you think we're going to see? How much will those be compromised?
Probably a couple pounds lighter just because of the heat. Now, that being said, this corn's also going to be drier than it was last fall, which is going to help our test weights out too.
So what do you think the yield potential is on the soybean crop?
We're going to see it mostly in the size of the bean, and we've sloughed a few pods off the top. But I would say it's kind of early to tell yet, but we've probably lost 15-20% of that soybean yield.
And again, the statewide soybean yield was pegged over 50 bushels, but that's really not in the cards now either, is it?
No, but I think 52 or 53 on the 1st of August again was probably in the cards. Probably where we are now as a state is going to be in the low 40s. You're going to have a huge range though, probably from the low mid 20s clear up to the mid to upper 60s will be that range.
Thanks so much, Keith. Keith Mockler joining us with the Agweek corn and soybean tour here in South Dakota.
I'm Emily Veal, and today I'm in Wolcott, North Dakota on Agweek's soybean and corn crop tour. Today I'm with Brady Anderson, an agronomist from CHS. So Brady, tell me a little bit about the crops that you're seeing in the region, specifically soybeans.
Yeah, soybeans are doing pretty good. The season started out about ideal. The biggest issue has been excessive moisture. There's been some pockets of insects and then now a little bit of white mold showing up, but yeah, it just needs to quit raining for a couple weeks.
What is the yields that farmers really aim for in this region, and what yield do you think that they're going to get to this year?
Yeah, growers, I'd say all shoot for 50 plus soybeans, maybe even a little more. I'd say with the moisture we received in this area, I think that'll be a little bit unlikely to attain, but I'd say, for the most part, a good average soybean crop can be expected in this area.
What is the corn looking like throughout the region this year?
For the most part, the corn crop looks very good. Driving around, you can see little pockets of Goss's wilt showing up in fields. That would be a big consideration for growers for 2021 is to look at Goss's wilt ratings on hybrids they select.
What is the typical yield that farmers shoot for corn in this region, and then what yield do you think this field will produce?
Yeah, most growers I think shoot for high 100, 200 bushel corn, and I'd say that this field has a really good shot at reaching 200 bushel.
Thanks, Brady. For Agweek's soybean and corn crop tour, I'm Emily Veal in Wolcott, North Dakota.
Thanks, Emily. The Dicamba lawsuit may be headed for the Supreme Court, but it's a fight one South Dakota farmer says is justified. Specialty crop producer John Zuelke is a plaintiff in the federal case that led to the registrations being vacated on 3 Dicamba products this spring. He says he joined the lawsuit after severe crop loss from off-target Dicamba drift. I traveled to his farm to see the damage and get his side of the story.
So this stuff is drifting half a mile, and it's out of control.
John Zuelke's produce has visible signs of Dicamba drift again this season. The threat to his livelihood is why he says he took legal action.
We've had significant damage over the past 3 to 4 years, several tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage, and no recourse. Very difficult to get the state to do anything about it.
He says even when adjacent landowners didn't apply Dicamba, it drifted miles to damage his produce.
Most significant the first year was vegetables. It completely melted everything. The trees were absolutely completely damaged.
This greenhouse also sits empty as volatilization was worse with the higher heat inside. He says that's forced many specialty producers out of business.
We've even seen ourselves cut back on the amount of produce that we are willing to grow, just knowing that the damage is going to occur.
He blames the companies that released the products, but says the blame doesn't stop there.
They pushed this product on the farmer as fast as they possibly could with a lack of science.
After thousands of complaints the first season, restrictions were tightened to prevent drift, but Zuelke says it didn't do any good, and that's why winning the lawsuit was so important.
People need to start thinking about, what is the next step when these things are banned, because they're gonna be, because it just can't continue like this.
In fact, he doesn't think Dicamba will be re-registered in 2021. Rural America is in desperate need of improved infrastructure. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll see what's being done.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Keep your equipment in the field when you need it most with parts from Titan Machinery. We carry a full line of high-quality Case IH parts designed for optimal performance and durability. We also carry alternative parts options at lower price points with rugged designs for a great mix of affordability and performance to fit a wide variety of makes and models. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today or shop online at www.titanmachinery.com. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH parts leader.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
Welcome back. When President Trump was elected in 2016, it seemed one of the few things nearly everyone could agree on was the need for investment in improving infrastructure across the country. But as Jenny Schlecht reports in this week's Agweek cover story, rural areas are still waiting for badly needed improvements.
Rural areas in the United States have a lot of problems with infrastructure. Things like water, broadband access, healthcare access, and roads like this one, where the heavy loads of crops or livestock can no longer pass through areas they need to.
A lot of the rural infrastructure was built by, my grandpa and great-grandpa, and that was built before we had semi-trailers and trucks and huge farm equipment.
Terry Wanzik is a Central North Dakota farmer and a longtime state senator. He spent a lot of his political career advocating for investment in rural infrastructure, especially roads.
Rural infrastructure should be important to everybody in the state, not just those of us who live in the rural area, but anyone who cares about our major economies, energy and agriculture.
Todd Van Hoos is president and CEO of the Farm Credit Council, which represents the farm credit system in Washington, D.C. He's working to convince Congress of the importance of rural infrastructure for transporting crops around the world through the Rebuild Rural Coalition.
The infrastructure that supported that for the last 70 years has largely been ignored and is really starting to deteriorate and is starting to impact our competitive ability in those overseas markets.
But it's much more than just roads and other physical structures. When the pandemic sent students home for classes, it underscored the need for improved rural broadband. Rachel Prevo's family ranch is in far eastern Montana, and she found it nearly impossible to complete her classwork during the pandemic.
It's an issue that's super important for remote learning, and we've seen that, as the pandemic and as schools move to online learning. So it's an issue that impacts thousands of people.
In Stutsman County, North Dakota, this is Jenny Schlecht for Agweek.
You can read more in the next Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. Despite the pandemic canceling farm shows and fairs in much of the country, the South Dakota State Fair took place this week in Huron. The fair looked a little different this year without any big-name concerts. Management also required social distancing of booths and provided additional hand washing and sanitation stations. However, the focus was still on agriculture, as 4-H and FFA members displayed their projects and took part in livestock shows. The open-class livestock events also went on as usual.
The state fair is all about celebrating youth and agriculture. So we knew that we had to have the fair to celebrate those things.
The state fair wraps up its 5-day run on Labor Day. NDSU sheep researchers have created a blanket using university-grown wool and featuring the school's official tartan pattern. As Michael Pates reports, bison fans can show their pride while contributing to scholarships.
This will be a project that is 100% NDSU created.
In 2011, students in the textiles department developed and registered this tartan pattern for the school. It's been used to decorate ties and other smaller items, with profits going to scholarships. But now, NDSU's sheep research program in western North Dakota is getting into the act by creating wool tartan blankets.
The unique part of this project is 100% of the wool would come from the Hettinger Research Extension Center, as we raise the right type of sheep for a wool blanket.
About 1,800 pounds of raw wool were processed into yarn this summer in Wyoming, which is now being woven into blankets at the woolen mill in Faribault, Minnesota.
The tartan angle of this is a little bit unique for what we've seen other universities partner in their College of Ag to produce something that was a uniquely branded product that really tied the state, and in this case the university, back to the end product.
Shower thinks they'll get up to 350 blankets from this wool. They haven't finalized the price, but it's expected to be under $300 per blanket, with all profits going for scholarships. So soon, bison fans can warm up in their own NDSU blankets, all made from NDSU wool. For Agweek, this is Michael Pates at Hettinger, North Dakota.
The blanket should be ready for sale by homecoming time. Ahead on Agweek TV, our crop tour continues with a trip to southeast Minnesota.
Be ready for the challenging field conditions you face with the Summers VRT Renegade. With on-the-fly adjustment, including blade angle from 0 to 19 degrees, the VRT Renegade gives you unprecedented flexibility for the field results you want, spring or fall. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the VRT Renegade and North America's broadest line of tillage equipment from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Let's face it, dogs will be dogs and do dog things. Dig things and bury things. Shred things tear things, bark at things. And, above all, dogs are going to eat dog things. At least you can support digestive health at mealtime. Exclusive Signature with Comfort Care is a unique combination of researched ingredients to support digestive health today while preparing your pets for what comes tomorrow.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems, the #1 Brock bin dealer in the U.S., is locally owned and provides turnkey convenience with factory direct product, complete design services, and in-house construction. Now's the perfect time to take advantage of discounts on Brock solid bins, grain dryers, and aeration systems. For more information, go online to gatewaybuilding.com or call 1-800-747-4499.
Go beyond the headlines with an Agweek membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Agweek and AgweekTV.
Crops suffered with the recent hot, dry weather. It has cooled off, but is there any rain in the forecast? Here's John with our agri-weather outlook.
Weather portion of Agweek TV now. It is that transitional time of the year. We've got our first really chilly wave of weather dropping into parts of the northern plains and upper Midwest. Maybe even cold enough for a few spots of frost this week in maybe North Dakota and northern Minnesota. Overall, the pattern looking a lot less stormy. In fact, starting to look a little bit more dry at times in some parts of the upper Midwest, some parts of the Corn Belt, some parts of the Great Plains. I'll show you where in just a minute. Let's take a look at the weather pattern. As cool weather drops back into the region Monday for Labor Day and then extends on in through the week, there will be another round of mountain snow that will keep Montana pretty cool. They had some already last week, though. The hot weather will continue across the southeast and the southwest. The midsection of the country, though, the weather will be dominated by this trough. Now, you're going to hear, banded around the world of weather, talk about an impending La Nina in the Pacific Ocean, and there are various layperson, and I might even say lame forecasts of extremely cold or snowy winters. You can ignore all of that at this point, certainly with regard to this particular weather pattern. First or second week of September to get cool weather into the northern plains or the upper Midwest is not unusual, and this is not likely to break any, if very many, records anyway. Now, the dip in the jet stream will continue to progress eastward, and gradually, as the week moves along, we'll see the cool weather retreating. The south will continue to be relatively warm, the warm air being 80s, maybe near 90, the hot weather being a lot of 90s, and a few spots in the southwest still in the hundreds this time of year. This stuff you see in the cool is where I'm expecting high temperatures, like in the 40s and 50s, and in some of the higher elevations cooler than that. But that's not really going to linger that long. The jet stream will start ridging again. We're going to get some warmer weather back into the northern plains and the Corn Belt. Not exactly hot, but it will definitely be warming up. Precipitation is setting up very interesting for the next couple of weeks. Interestingly, I should say. Widespread rain in the northeast, the middle Atlantic. Some of that will be in the form of thunder showers. This time of year, we're always at risk for a tropical system, and that could obviously change things. Most of the northern plains, the southwest, looking actually fairly dry, maybe not much precipitation at all beyond a few scant showers. And as we move on to the second week of this period, right the middle block of September, the western half of the country still looks quite dry. And even as temperatures begin to warm back up into the Dakotas and Minnesota, I don't see a lot of opportunity for for any widespread rain. That's going to really be focused over the eastern third of the country, and right around the middle Atlantic is where it's really going to be focused with a lot of rainfall. So the general outlook for the present time, cool weather definitely arriving, might see a first few frosts, and it won't be so rainy.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
2020 has started off where 2019 left off, with a lot of uncertainty and concern. Is your farming operation ready to take the volatility this year has to offer? Do you have a marketing plan in place to take advantage of opportunity? Are you finding it hard to separate the noise from the news? Talk to the professionals at Martinson Ag. We can help you make sound risk management decisions that will help your operation survive during these unusual times.
Northstar Ag is proud to add some exciting new products to their lineup this summer, including Meyer Manufacturing forage boxes, Myers Equipment manure spreaders, H&S beet carts, and Summers Manufacturing land rollers and tillage. This August, Northstar Ag will be moving to a convenient new location just off I-94 in Tower City, North Dakota. We look forward to seeing you there.
The Agweek Corn and Soybean Crop Tour is brought to you by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, the North Dakota Soybean Council, Mosaic, K&T Dryers and Bins, and Steffes Group.
Our Agweek Corn and Soybean Crop Tour continues this week with Noah Fish, who checks on the crop in the southeastern corner of Minnesota.
Hey, this is Noah Fish on the Agweek Corn and Soybean Crop Tour. Today I'm in Sargent, Minnesota in the southeast tip of the state, and I'm with Sam Hansen, a growth specialist with Central Farm Service. Sam, what are you seeing in the area's corn crop this year?
Corn looks really good this year. Expecting good yields this year. We're right about 2,200 GDUs, so about 200 GDUs ahead of normal. So things look really good. With this last rain that we just got, should finish us out real well. We're in dense stage right now, so I'm excited for the corn crop this year.
And so what do farmers in the area expect for yields for corn, and what kind of yields do you think they'll get?
Sure. We're definitely in the above average category here right now. Populations are all there this year, so I really think we'll be above average this year too. There's a little bit of tip back in the corn, but for the most part I think we'll be just fine, so above average.
Okay. And then so to soybeans then. What are some things that you're seeing in the soybean crop this year in the area?
So beans look really, really good. We may have taken a little bit off the top yield here with the heat we've had the last couple of weeks here, but for the most part, beans look really good. There is a little bit of sudden death and a little disease starting to show up. We had a little bit of an aphid run, but for the most part, we'll finish them out, and I'm excited for the bean crop too.
So safe to say there's a pretty good chance for good yields with soybean?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Well, thanks for talking to us today and giving us an update on what's going on here in the area with the crops. This is Noah Fish on the Agweek Corn and Soybean Crop Tour in Sargent, Minnesota.
This week's crop stop takes us to north central South Dakota, where they could use some rain. Lyle Huber, his wife Rita, and son Brent grow about 4,000 acres of soybeans and 1,200 acres of corn near Bowdle on some sandy, lighter soil. A wet spring made it hard to plant, but conditions normalized by mid-August. Then by the end of the month, Huber says they were hurting for moisture.
No, it started out very wet. We're a very wet spring, hard to get planted, and I don't know, it kind of shut off now, and it just don't want to start again.
Huber says he's hoping for 50 bushel soybeans and 150 bushel corn if they can still get some timely rain. Still ahead on Agweek TV, a very special North Dakotan marks a major milestone.
Dynaflow is the ultimate high-volume water management pump. Whether you're experiencing flooding, emptying sloughs, transferring ponds, or working on irrigation, the Dynaflow pump works in as little as 18 inches of water and is designed to move 3,000 gallons per minute. The Dynaflow lift pump is the perfect upgrade to your drain tile system. Using line shaft turbine pump technology, these pumps are made to last while operating efficiently. Dynaflow drain tile pumps can move up to 1,500 gallons per minute, up to 3,400 feet away.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Iris Westman was born in 1905 on a farm near Annetta, North Dakota, 115 years ago. That makes her the oldest North Dakotan and the second oldest American by less than 2 weeks. Because of COVID, there was no party, but hundreds of friends and relatives, even a fire truck and EMS vehicles, turned out for a parade in her honor. Iris takes the attention and the number in stride.
I don't feel any worse than I did yesterday, and I was not 115 then.
She now lives in a nursing home in Northwood, but still owns her family's farmland. She's also the great-great-aunt of Agweek publisher Katie Pinky. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have yourself a great and safe week.